We have another deadly tragedy to tell you about this morning in Morocco. The search for any survivors continues after an earthquake struck near Marrakech.
Yeah, this new video showing the moment the deadly quake struck, killing more than 2,000 people. A security camera capturing people walking in the streets before running for their lives. You can see right there the dust and debris tumble all around them. The United Nations estimates that 300,000 people were affected by this disaster. The country's royal palace has declared 3 days of national mourning.
International correspondent Alex Cartier joining us now from Morocco. They're on the ground, and tell us a little bit about what you're seeing as we learn the death toll just continues to climb.
Yeah, what we're seeing in Marrakech at the moment is a very coordinated collective response. You can see people waiting behind me at this blood donation point. That has been the case for 2 or 3 days non-stop. People lining up around the block to do what they can to help out. We've seen people flooding in with donations, with food, with water, with supplies for other people who are in need, and actually donating to the families of the victims who have been brought to this hospital here, who've just shown up in Marrakech to be with their loved ones but have nowhere to stay and limited access to food and water. They're all being helped locally. The situation 2 hours south of here is much more complicated indeed in the Atlas Mountains. Some of these areas, the roads are still blocked by rubble and bits of mountain that have fallen onto these roads, and some of these places don't have roads at all. They're usually accessed on the back of a donkey, on the back of a horse, or maybe with a good motorbike. So that's the level of challenge the authorities have here to rescue people. Some small villages have had no rescuers yet. They're still pushing to get there as quickly as possible. The Moroccan government has now asked the Spanish military's emergency response unit to coordinate the international help flooding into the country, but really time of the essence here in Morocco.
And Alex, we're seeing reports of people sleeping on the streets. Their homes are destroyed. They've got nowhere to go. So what support is being offered them?
Well, there is some support being put in place. Just a few moments ago, we visited a stadium about 15 minutes away from here. That has been repurposed into a makeshift camp. Now, a lot of people in Marrakech in the first few nights were sleeping on the streets because they didn't feel safe in their homes. A lot of them have gone home now, reassured by the authorities. But the authorities have also told some people, you really shouldn't go home. Your house could collapse if there's an aftershock. That's also the risk looming over everything. There are recovery efforts. There are people giving all these donations, helping each other out. But there's this eerie feeling that aftershocks could still come and damage some structures. For those of them who don't have a place to stay, they're in makeshift camps around the city.
All right, international correspondent Alex Cartier live in Morocco for us. Thank you. Well, joining us now is Avril Benoit, the executive director of Doctors Without Borders, and Brahim El Abli, assistant professor of Arabic studies at Williams College. Thank you both for being here with us today. Brahim, I want to start with you. Can you explain to our audience the challenges that rescuers and medical personnel are facing in your homeland of Morocco this morning?
Thank you for having me, and I cannot express how much devastated these areas have been, and the impact of the earthquake of such magnitude has had on vulnerable communities in the High Atlas Mountains. So the High Atlas Mountains cuts Morocco into two halves. There is the east and the west of the mountain. The mountains are home to about 600,000 people, and these areas are historically really vulnerable. They don't have accessible roads. The infrastructure is very limited. Hospitals, schools, everything is really limited because for a very long time, there has not been a lot of investment in these areas. So an earthquake with such magnitude, 6.8, is really huge. And the nature of the construction of the homes, and the fact that people did not know that this was on the earthquake fault line until now, actually exacerbated the problems that we are witnessing now. So the roads are not accessible. The cell phone towers are broken down by the earthquake, so it's very hard to reach people. And people are still under the debris and the rubble of the houses that have been demolished. And all of this is exacerbated by the difficulty to coordinate aid and get it to the people. I just spoke with somebody this morning, and he had to walk like miles to get to a place where he could actually ask for assistance because nobody had showed up to help them in his village.
Wow. Brahim, you also have family and friends, not in the actual Atlas Mountains, but in an hour away in a city. Have they been impacted by this at all? Have you been in contact with them?
Absolutely. I mean, I just wrote an article about that today, and my sister called me on Friday night, and my sister usually does not call me at night, and it was frantic, very sad, emotional, and they could hear trauma, and they was like, well, something was wrong, and she told me that the earth shook, and they felt the tremors of the earth moving, and everything was cracked. Some homes were demolished. Luckily, in my village, there was not much loss of life, but there is some damage to property. And it took them even, and I spoke to them yesterday, they were still working through the fact that the shaking was so violent that they could not really wrap their minds around what happened to them or how they survived it. So everybody in the area is traumatized. People lost their lives, lost their property. The epicenter, of course, is the focus of the aid effort and rescue,
Right.
but other areas are heavily damaged, particularly psychologically, where people are still wrapping up and trying to make sense of everything that happened and that they witnessed. And of course, the fact that they survived.
Right.
And that's also like, is very heavy to think about.
Absolutely. And I want to talk about that aid and the rescue efforts that you were just mentioning, Brahim. And Avril, what have your teams been able to assess in order to respond to the thousands of people who are hurt, as Brahim was saying, that have survived but are injured pretty badly here in some cases?
Well, thanks for having me. In a situation like this, I appreciate that you reach out to Doctors Without Borders, but the real first responders will be one's neighbors. And this has been the case in Morocco. So people in the area, in the villages, local doctors, nurses, working in clinics and so forth, are the ones that receive those initial injured. Our teams, we sent 3 of them to Morocco. They made their way from Marrakech into some of the high Atlas villages, such as Amiz, close to the epicenter, if not the epicenter of this earthquake. And they've been in contact with hospital and clinic directors, doctors, nurses to establish what would be a complementary aid for everything they're doing. What they found when they got to Amiz, for example, is that the small clinic had received many injured, people with broken bones, arms, legs, some wounds to the head. The more severely injured people had been transferred by ambulance to referral hospitals in Marrakech. But those local clinics continued to receive wounded. The medical staff there were exhausted by the time our team arrived, but they had been working nonstop for 36 hours. They had depleted the medical supplies already. They were beginning to run out. And so our dialogue with them is to see how can we support, what can be complementary. And then, of course, we make that offer to the authorities who are setting up this emergency commission because they want to be able to coordinate the aid so that it's thoughtful and very much in support of what the Moroccan health system is offering people at the moment.
Avril, as Brahim was describing, there are some steep challenges with the terrain, this mountainous area, just accessibility, as you touched on as well. Are you guys hopeful that you're going to find survivors? This is now 3 days removed from whenever this earthquake hit.
Yeah, that golden window to be able to find those survivors, it really dwindles. So after a couple of days, you start to find fewer and fewer, obviously. The other complexity is that those you do find may have suffered catastrophic injuries. Crush syndrome is what we call when there's a compression so total of one's limbs, for example, that you lose all the blood circulation, you can get infections in there. And if you do not treat the person right away, and hopefully you can save the limbs, but sometimes it leads to amputation. You also could have quite serious kidney damage. So you need dialysis support, you need nephrologists, you need that equipment to be able to do that. So it becomes much more complex even as the days go on. Once you find those injured, you treat them for their crush injury because they will require, for sure, infection management post-operative care in a high-level setting in order to increase their chances of surviving something so serious. And then beyond that, of course, rehab, physical therapy in order to regain mobility. The mental health burden also should not be understated. When you have so many people in communities who have died, you must address those needs. So as an organization, Doctors Without Borders, that has a lot of experience, unfortunately, in earthquake response, we are offering that expertise and able to leverage our logistical capacity, our staffing experts to be able to support the Moroccan authorities. And so we're just waiting for that exchange of information to be finalized in order to see whether it will be something that we respond to. But for the time being, it really is, for the most part, Moroccan health teams and emergency and rescue teams with construction crews. Everyone has been drawn in from other parts of the country and is doing what they can to help.
Brahim, really quickly, because we are out of time, do you know of any way that people can either donate money, they can chip in to help? Have you seen or heard anything as far as that goes?
Absolutely. As the rescue efforts are ongoing and Morocco is witnessing this huge solidarity, people giving food, bringing in blankets, clothing. I think in the next few days, of course, there will be enough of that. But the next stage is to think about how to help people rebuild their homes and reconstruct a place to live, because the High Atlas is unfortunately very inclement. It can be very, very cold in the winter, and people will need places to live. And when I talk to people about their needs, what I hear the most is think about rebuilding. And I started a GoFundMe campaign with two colleagues of mine, Omar Boum at UCLA and Monia Manowar at Princeton. And we really want to get this money to the families. I understand that the Moroccan authorities are going to help people with probably construction materials and making the procedures for rebuilding easier. But people will need money. They will need money to restart businesses. They will need money to hire workers to build, even if they have construction materials. And they will just need money probably to buy things for their children if they go back to school, or to support themselves in a way or another. So I hope that we can collect enough funds to be able to help as many people as we can. And of course, we will do our best and due diligence to coordinate with the Moroccan authorities so that this money goes really to the families immediately.
All right, Avril Benoit, Executive Director of Doctors Without Borders, and Brahim El Abli, thank you so much, Professor of Arabic Studies at William College. We appreciate your time. Rob?
Thank you.